Good day, everyone, and a warm welcome. I'm Nicola Probyn, co-founder and director of the Africa Scotland Business Network. And today I'm delighted to welcome Ernest Wiltshire. He is the managing partner at Bowmans in Uganda. Thank you for joining us today, Ernest.
Thank you, Nicola. Very glad to be part of this engagement.
Thank you. So the reason why I'm spending time with Ernest today is to really highlight this amazing resource that Bowmans have done for all their in-country offices in Africa. And there are guides for doing business in those particular regions and countries. And it's really an amazing tool for potential investors if they're looking at that territory as an opportunity. So today we're going to be chatting to Ernest about the guide for Uganda, but this is really just a very high-level sneak peek of what is in this amazing resource. And if you want to, please, I would encourage you to download the full report, which will be available in the link below this post. So Ernest, thank you very much again for joining us. Bowmans have been a fantastic supporter of Africa Scotland Business Network since we launched in November 2019. I wanted to ask you, why do you think it's important for companies such as Bowmans to be part of independent business networks such as ASBN?
Okay, thank you, Nicola. I think that the benefits of being members of an engagement like this are immense. The networking opportunities, the sharing of information opportunities. You talked about the resource that we have put out on investment.
Thank you, Ernest, and we really appreciate the support that Bowmans offers, not only the network but all our members as well, of course. So the next question I wanted to ask you is, what are some of the opportunities that potential investors looking at Uganda should be, or could look forward to?
Okay, let me just say something about Uganda. Uganda is a country that sits in the middle of Africa, sits astride the equator. It's got amazing weather. It's got beautiful people. It's got warm people. It's got an amazing climate. And being where it is, the biggest opportunities that we see are in the agricultural sector. So it's an agricultural economy. It's a free market economy, but a lot of it is based on agriculture. So there are opportunities that, in terms of priorities of government, start off with business in agriculture, so agro-processing, agro-business, growing of food, large-scale plantations, and so on. In terms of just statistics, if you wanted to know what Uganda really looks like, I think about 18% of its landmass is water. About 35% of that landmass is arable land, and a lot of it is unutilized. So we still have a lot of small-scale agricultural players in there. So there's vast opportunities there for the growing and exporting and processing of all manner of crops, from cereals to fruits, flowers, and so on. Whatever it is you can think of would grow here very, very easily. So in terms of priorities, the government looks at agriculture as one of those. It looks at tourism. The sector of tourism is another that's been growing very, very quickly. But it's got lots of opportunities there for high-end accommodation type of things, for unique types of tourist activities, like water sports and water tourism and facilities around the lake. We've got a large chunk of Lake Victoria, which is the biggest freshwater lake in the world, and a big chunk of that. But we never quite agree with Kenya whether we have the bigger part or they do, but I think we think that we have the bigger chunk. So there's vast opportunities there. There's opportunities in the mining sector. About 80% of the country has been, geo-mapped in terms of minerals, and not a lot of that has been exploited. So there's huge opportunities there. There are minerals like gold. There's tin, there's phosphorus, there's wolfram, there's lots of things that are available in the country. So in terms of, I think, a list of priorities or sectors that the government would be looking at as the better investment opportunities. I think those three.
Sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So obviously with opportunity comes, every country has its own complexities in terms of doing business there. What are some of the things that potential investors should be mindful of or aware of?
Well, agriculture, as I said, is one of those areas that's critical. And so when you're talking about agriculture, you're talking about land. So we've got a fairly complex, land tenure system, because we've got 4 different types of land tenure systems operational in the country. So depending on where you are looking to set up, you might face different challenges. Non-citizens are only allowed to hold leasehold land, and leasehold land tends to be more in urban areas than in the rural areas where you would find a lot of this agricultural land. So that's something to be mindful of. We've also got relatively poor infrastructure. I think the national road network is fairly good. It's in a good shape. Major towns connected quite well, but outside the major towns. So again, if you're looking at agriculture, you'd be operating outside major towns. You might have some challenges in that space of infrastructure. But the flip side also is that we've got a youthful population that's vibrant and teachable and educated and is willing to work and would render support and so on. We've got, as I said, climate that's excellent. We've got good rainfall. We've got very friendly people and so on. So despite those problems, those 3 or 4 challenges that I've pointed out, I think overall Uganda as an investment destination is one that any serious investor needs to consider carefully and think about setting up business.
Thank you so much, Ernest. I really, really appreciate you sharing your insights and your wisdom. And as I say to everyone, please, as Ernest was saying, it sounds like we've obviously just scratched the surface in terms of the information that's available in the in-country guide. Please click on the link below, and if you'd like to connect with Ernest and his team, by all means reach out to the team at ASBN and we'll happily connect you. Thank you so much for your time today, Ernest.
Thank you very much, Nicola.